Today we're off to meet Nikki Henderson. Nikki and I met each other whilst we were both competing in the Clipper Round the World yacht race. Myself as an amateur sailor and Nikki as the youngest ever woman to lead a round the world sailing race. Since then, she's gone on to skip a maiden factor, started by Tracy Edwards, another trailblazing woman, and recently she's just sailed a certain Swedish teenage environmentalist across the Atlantic. As you imagine, I've got a million questions, so let's go and meet Nikki. Hi Nikki.
Hello.
It's great to see you again. You've been really busy. You've been skippering Clipper race, maiden, and sailed Greta Thunberg across the Atlantic recently. And I want to hear about all of those things. But I also want to find out about what you were doing before Clipper, what led you to the start line of the Clipper race. Could you give us a brief overview of your journey to that point?
The story's maybe not what people expect. I did sail a little bit as a kid, but kind of had the academic path sort of laid out in front of me. I did really well at school with my exams, and I was really bad at sport. Like the serial B-teamer, if I was lucky type thing. Then didn't get into uni and took a gap year, went sailing, ended up reapplying to uni, got into uni, decided not to go and pursued sailing as a career basically because I got quite depressed and it was the thing that got me out of that. So I don't know, the combination of adventure and the freedom and the independence and meeting loads of other people who are like kind of nomadic within the sailing community, and I just fell in love with it. So did that for 3 or 4 years, and suppose the female, the young aspect of me, you know, made me stand out. And while it can be a challenge being like, I suppose the cliche is a woman in a man's world, it also was a chance, and I just took the chance and I like kind of jumped on this elevator and I became an instructor and I put myself forward for some ocean trips. And yeah, and then I fell in love and I moved to America and I gave up sailing and I started going into business. So I set up a sailing school out there in Colorado, which is about as far away from the sea as you can get. So I was definitely in love. I did that for a year, came home, my visa ran out, and I basically needed something to do. And Clipper kind of popped up on Google, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, see what happens.
Wow, it's incredible. I can't ever imagine you not being good at sports, but it's great that you followed your heart and fell into it. I think it's how lots of us fall into Clipper, and I always think it's misleading that sometimes people think because the Clipper race is for amateurs that it's not hard. It's like, it's still hard. A 15-foot wave is still a 15-foot wave.
Yeah, the ocean is the ocean.
Yeah, and so as a woman, the youngest woman to skip at any round the world yacht race, you must have faced, if not criticism, an element of doubt from people, if not just yourself. How do you overcome that? What do you think it is in your character that enables you not to, you know, sort of cave under that pressure? You know, you came second.
Yeah, the element of self-doubt I think is always there, and it was always there. Never quite sure if you just got lucky or like everyone who does doubt you is right, and I would be lying to say that I didn't have any at the end. You know, I still had it. How do you kind of overcome that and be a leader, especially if people in your team potentially doubt you? There's not really a magic ingredient, but I think a lot of it is your presence. So it's the aura that you give off to other people. So do you give off a sense of confidence, a sense of do you give off a sense of confidence to other people despite how you might feel inside? You know, is your performer self, your leader self, someone that people feel safe and comfortable to follow? And I think that's how I got over the self-doubt and the doubt from other people, is I just tried to be that person.
Successfully. Doesn't matter how old you are. 23, it's young, but you were very good. You came second. Well done. So since finishing the race, you've gone on to sail the maiden factor and then with Greta across the Atlantic. And it seems to me these are two adventures that are their very core is making a positive change, be it for increasing awareness of female education around the world or raising awareness about climate change. Is it fair to say that that's what's motivating you now, is a desire to use your ability and your power for good?
Definitely, and really that's what clinched the Clipper race as well to me. All those things, sailing really throughout my whole career has been about using sailing as a vehicle for other things. So sailing is a vehicle for, changing people's lives and having an adventure on Clipper, or for promoting, as you say, the education for women in Maiden, for boosting confidence in young people, for Greta, and what we did with her, yes, sending a message. But also, I think in a way, the trip probably did the same things for her as it has done for those people on Clipper, those people I've taught. It's a great way to boost confidence and to get to know yourself and have a break from the world.
Yeah, she must really enjoy being at sea. I read a quote of yours that the reason you decided to sail Greta and her father on La Vagabond across the Atlantic was because you wanted to see what Greta was really like and what she was fighting for, what she is continuing to fight for, and get to know her a bit better. What was that experience like? Has it changed your perspective on what you're capable of, I suppose?
Yes, I mean, it was, I was fascinated by her. How is this 16-year-old girl saying the same things as everyone else, and yet, millions of people are following her, and, she started this movement for, on Fridays for striking. What is it about her? So doing the trip definitely did make me look at her and at leadership and at climate change in a different way. Definitely. It made me realize that, or it affirmed my belief that age does not necessarily act as a hindrance for the impact you want to make, and how clever or knowledgeable you are about subjects. And I think also what she did very successfully with me, as she does with lots of people, is she made climate change approachable because she's a child, because she's 16. She made it less scary and something that I feel like I could look at in the face and not ignore or run away or feel intimidated by.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it gives, as you say, that accessibility, doesn't it? It's so overwhelming sometimes. It's so huge, the idea that we can't affect change. As you say, when you see, and also for someone like me, seeing that you can interact with Greta and then sail her across an ocean is like a skill set I feel like I'm much more likely to one day have than being able to change and reverse climate change. But through sailing, it's raised awareness. It's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've sailed Greta across the Atlantic, you're back for probably only about 5 minutes. What's next? What are you looking forward to? What's coming up?
Oh, the golden question.
Sorry, yeah.
When you get back from an adventure, people always like to ask you, what are you doing next? No, I am taking what I did last year. So yeah, as you said, using sailing as a vehicle for change. And I'm kind of in a middle process of working out how I can do that on a bigger scale. So yes, I've been inspired, particularly with the last trip with Greta, to do something, do my bit to change the world, I think. And I think sailing can be a really powerful way to do that. So I'm looking for an avenue to take that down.
Amazing, exciting. Keep me posted. It would be remarkable if you're doing it, and I bet you'll do it before you're 30 as well.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, so now, have you heard of a guy called Marcel Proust?
No.
Not many people have. He's a French essayist in the end of the 19th century, and he devised 35 questions which he believed would reveal an individual's true nature. I'm not going to subject you to 35 questions. I've whittled it down to my abridged top 10. So I'm going to ask you just quick fire answer, whatever you like.
I tell you, he should go sailing. He'd find out a lot about people too.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? The ocean, no time for liars. So, what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Freedom.
What is your greatest fear?
Losing the people I love.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
Low self-esteem.
What is the trait you most deplore in others?
Arrogance.
On what occasion do you lie?
If I'm embarrassed about something.
These very considered answers, considering you've never seen the questions before. I like it. What do you consider to be your greatest achievement?
Following my heart, even though I knew it would let a lot of people down.
want to ask you more, but I can't. I won't. What is your motto?
We'll go with live for today, not for tomorrow. Oh, live for today, don't worry about tomorrow.
I was in Scottish one, drink and be merry, for tomorrow we die, which is a bit more morose. But yeah, I like it. What is your greatest regret?
I don't think I have any regrets. Yeah.
Good. Which historical figure do you most identify with?
I always struggle with this question because I think that historical figures, which generally are thought of as famous people, are so exceptional. And I suppose in lots of ways I identify with normal people or less exceptional people, ordinary people. So I suppose in a way I could say Robin Lochshonson because he was just a normal guy and he just sailed around the world without being already, you know, a professional sports person, a professional famous person, a famous person. And yeah, I think I very much feel like an ordinary person doing maybe slightly more exceptional things.
Yeah, that's true. I'd agree with that. And last but not least, how would you like to die?
With no regrets.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Nikki. So we just finished our interview with Nikki, and it was absolutely brilliant to catch up with her and hear everything she's been up to since coming second in the Clipper Around the World Yacht Race in 2018. Obviously, as expected, she's not stopped. She skippered the maiden factor, helping to raise awareness for education around the world for young women. Then she went on and recently sailed Greta Thunberg across the Atlantic. And I think now she's at a stage where she's realised she can use her abilities and her passion for huge positive change, and that is really inspirational to me. It's also fantastic and relatable for me to hear that she suffers self-doubt like any of us. She is a normal human. She's a brilliant human, but she is also like you and I and has moments of crises. And it's how you come back from that that's important. I have no doubt she's going to go on to achieve incredible things, and I can't wait to follow and see what she does next.